Hello, everybody. Welcome to NUFC Talk TV live here, 9:32 UK, 3:30 p.m. Central Time, USA. Welcome, everyone, to the channel. The Magpie channel. Well, no, we can't call it the Magpie channel. There's another channel called the Magpie channel. But we are Magpies nonetheless, where we gather together and speak on all things Newcastle United. And breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. Elanga's bid for 45 million, is it? 45 million pounds rejected, effective immediately by Forest towards Newcastle. Unfortunately, the Magpies not able to sign Elanga, at least for 45 million pounds. We're going to discuss that in depth. And of course, I'm solo today. It's been a long time since I've been solo. So bring in your comments because I want to get all your takes. And this show is going to be the same thing. Tomorrow will be Gary by himself earlier at 2:30 p.m. talking about the stadium and then going on to some other news. So please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, become a member. You can super chat, super sticker. You can donate to the channel and help us grow. That helps us keep running the channel. And without football, obviously, we're like those businesses in downtown Newcastle. We depend on match days or match day revenue to keep going. And unfortunately, no matches, and it's been a slow month for us. But regardless, we appreciate your support, watching us and supporting us. So if you can, please do that. If not, just hit the like button. You'll help us immensely that way. But we got news to talk about, and there are, of course, Keith Downey also saying that here we go that could be other possibilities to replace Elanga, and we're gonna have to talk about that as well. But I want to get your opinion. What are you thinking? Because it looks like we cannot get a deal done. We cannot get a deal done. 45 million, is that going to be enough? Do you think that's too much? Do you think that's the right price? Do you think that's not what they're going to accept anyway? I think it was 50 million what they rejected the last time around, and that was probably, well, last season, really, last window when we tried to get him, and it didn't work, and they declined it. So what would make them sell him for that price this window? Maybe because the player has shown certain actions that show that he wants to go, that he wants to leave. Maybe that's why. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be enough. Regardless, Forest are going to think about Forest, and they want their money. So Giniesta here says 50 million is reasonable. Michael says 45 million is probably what he's worth, but it's Forest don't have to sell. They're asking for 60 million. We should walk away, says Michael S. Well, I mean, that's it's tough. It's tough. I don't know. I mean, when I was on the forum, we have a WhatsApp forum. A lot of you are part of that. A lot of you aren't. So if you want to be, join the WhatsApp forum. I'll send you the link here in a minute, and you can join and have a conversation, have a chat all day. That thing goes. It's always got something to talk about. If it bothers you, you can just mute it and then go from there. So, but I love to have that chat because we always see what's going on. People are posting news, etc., and also talking about what's happening. So that's what we want to do. We want to bring up a forum for all Newcastle United fans. So I'm gonna put it right here. Join our WhatsApp, and forget my spelling here via link. If you got WhatsApp, you can do that. There you go. And by the way, there is a link pinned in the chat to join our prediction tournament. So you can do that, the 25-26 season. Join our prediction tournament prediction tournament, basically, in £5 to sign up. That's it. You don't even need to be a member anymore. That was a rule that we had last season. Now you don't need that. We want to get as many people as we can so we can participate and win. We're going to add the money, divide it. Depends on how much money we got. That's how we're going to divide it. But probably between the first and sixth place. We're going to divide it. A lot of people, so everybody can get an opportunity to win some money. Cheers, Ian Fleming here with the super chat says, "Do you think we can get some Lyon players after they were relegated, Chris?" Well, that could be an opportunity, but one thing I've noticed about Newcastle, Ian, is that, with all due respect, we're not a team that's open-minded, really. We're especially whoever's running this, whoever's in charge, and one we like to say is Eddie Howe now. That Paul Mitchell's not there, but Andy Howe and Steve Nixon, I think is his name. they are the ones that are being in charge of this whole situation. Uh, Newcastle have not been a team that's open-minded, really, that looks into a loan deal, that looks into young players that are established somewhere else or other young talent. We're very fixated on a certain type of player, very fixated on a certain league. That's it's a strategy. To be honest, we have not signed anybody, so is it working? I'm not sure, but it is a strategy, and they're going to have to live by the sword and you die by the sword. So I would definitely take a look at some Lyon players. So, you got to look at other big teams and see what they got going on and see what young talents you can bring in or established talents. But I don't think that we are that type of club, man. And it's a shame, to be honest with you, but it's just I don't think that's the way we've handled ourselves. To be fair, so anyway, let me see if anybody is. There we go. All right, hit the like button, folks. Come on. Let me see. Thank you, Ian, for that. Craven says the deal is reported to be 35 million guaranteed with 10 million add-ons. We have offered, which is similar to the deal we offered in January. So that's another thing as well, that we tend to be, Newcastle United tends to be a little more, how can we say, I don't want to say cheap, but we tend to always try to get a discount. If we have Mighty Win working there, we're going to try to get a seniors discount. We're going to try to get, it's always about the lowest price we can get. And trust me, everybody would want to pay the lowest price. That's kind of a given, right? But man, every window for every player, and look, if you only want to pay 40 million and divide it into a million parts and just make it good for you, well, Forest is going to look at it. Well, where's the benefit? I'm going to lose one of my top players, and then you're going to pay me in parts or in add-ons and in bonuses or whatever. We also have to learn the art of the deal, and every player that we go for. It's like so complicated, man. So complicated. And of course, Forest is not going to go for it. They don't have to sell. They don't want to sell. They understand probably that Elanga wants to leave and would like to leave to Newcastle, but they're not going to, break their back trying to get rid of him. They're going to try to make it as difficult as they can for a team that, I tend to think that they're not going to be in the top 5 again. Or top 6, top 7. They're not going to be in Europe again. But, I may be wrong. And but they might think that they are. And so why would they want to sell their top talent? The top assist player is assisted the most towards their goal scorer, who is former Toon player Mr. Chris Wood. He's got a lot of assists. He's been contributed to, I think, 18 goals overall for Forest. So they're not going to make it easy on us. And at some point in time, if I go to a store and I'm desperate for something, I just got to buy it, man. I just got to buy it, and I don't automatically think that means that all of a sudden everybody thinks Newcastle, they're going to walk over Newcastle now, that everybody's going to want a lot of money for every player that we go and sign. We're going to be taken for a ride every time now just because you overpay for Elanga. And overpay, and to be honest, it's debatable whether Elanga is worth 50 million or 60 million. A lot of people will say yes, a lot of people say no. But if you tell me, if I go with what Craven has been gathering in 30 million, 35 up front, and then 10 million add-ons, man, I don't know if that's a deal, because the add-ons could be anything. The add-ons could be he could score, if he scores over 20 goals and or assists this amount of times to when we end up scoring, or plays this amount of games. All of that is not really feasible or appealing to a club like Forest. And maybe if we said 40 million or 45 million right here cash, they would probably bite your hand off. But we keep trying to get a discount on everything, man. I'm trying to find the right word for it, but man, it's kind of, and right now we're desperate to get a signing. Let's be honest, we're desperate. We don't have to sugarcoat it. We don't have to sugarcoat it. We need a signing. Everybody knows that. And the longer we don't sign somebody, the longer it will make clubs, want to rip us off, if you will. And look, at some point, if you really want that player, is it really a ripoff? Unless you're playing an extraordinary amount of money, I don't know, 80 million or something for Elanga, then I can agree with you or anybody that thinks that way. But 45, 50, is it really that much money? I mean, but you don't want to go get Mbumo for, what was it, 50, 60 million. As far as I'm concerned, I've looked around, and Mbumo's even said that, there were all rumors, but nothing concrete. And Newcastle really weren't in the deal. And maybe because they heard that Man United, he was going to choose Man United, so they didn't even bother. Semenyo is going to be about 60 plus. Are you going to go get Semenyo? This is as cheap as you're going to get. How much does Forest want? They want 60? Well, offer them 45 cash up front. 45 without the add-on scam. Because it's a scam, really. I mean, it's guaranteed. 10 million extra in add-ons guarantee if he plays 20 games. Well, we'll just make him play 19 games, and we don't have to pay for that. I mean, Forest is not, we're looking for favors, and nobody's going to do us any favor. Steve says Forest value is 60 million pounds, and we lowball them, knowing it will be knocked back. Isak, Gordon, Tonali must be shaking their heads. Well, that could be. They could look at this, look at the clock, and man, the clock is ticking, and they might say, "Man, what's going on? We're not getting anybody in the squad. We need a strong squad, and we're not getting anybody in." That's something that could be detrimental. But I mean, I don't know. It depends on how you look at it, and I understand that. But Choppy says Forest won't get 70 million for anyone. No, I agree. I would never pay 70 million for Elanga, but I would probably go 50-55. I mean, just get a deal done, man, because we are desperate to get. And if you really rate Elanga, where you're really going back after him every window, every week, there's something else about Elanga. The same thing with Gehi, by the way. Why haven't we just said Gehi? He is beloved by Eddie Howe. Just go out there and say, look, this is how much we got, man. Yes or no. But stop wasting time. Stop wasting time, because the clock is ticking, man. And people are having their hopes that July 1st is when the bus pulls up with all the brand new signings. All right. It might work. But I doubt it. We are known to not be able to get deals done quick. And we still need to work on other players. And we're not getting it done. And this is, again, people are talking about, well, we got to wait until July. You don't have to wait until July to negotiate and come up with an agreement. You have to wait until July to make it official that you are acquiring these players. But that doesn't mean that you don't have to. You can't work on them, on the deals. And every time we hear something about Newcastle, unfortunately, it's all about trying to get the cheapest deal possible. Newcastle won it all. My problem with the Magpies, I'm one myself, is that we want to have it all. We want to get the best players and the cheapest players. But that's not gonna fly. That doesn't work in today's football anymore. You're gonna have to break the bank. And if you don't have enough to break the bank, well, then you're gonna have to make it clear and go get another player that's cheaper, that's less quality, less trajectory. But at least make it clear. Stop wasting time on Elanga if you can't pay him or pay for him. What, not necessarily what Forest wants, but something better than 35 and then 10 in add-ons. That just makes no sense to me. If you really want the player. The McKesson family says Wynn still wants a Wilson new contract. Oh, 100%. If we get Wilson a new contract, Wynn is going to be, that's it. That's all he wants. Lacazette is at 34 years old, says Michael. Somebody mentioned Lacazette, I'm sure. Look, man, at this point in time, I'm going to tell you something. And that's why I was going back to the Ian Fleming comment that Newcastle are not open-minded. We can laugh at Lacazette at 34, but the experience that guy has, he can still get a job done. he can still strengthen and lengthen our squad, right? And I'm just, you know why? Because at some point you have to realize, okay, you don't want to spend, you can't spend this much money, a lot of money. Well, you're gonna have to shift. You're gonna have to change your strategy. You may have to look at players that are not wanted by the world of football, but can help you build and strengthen your squad. And I'm not necessarily saying that, like I said, would do that, but I'm just saying you have to be open minded. Maybe get a loan deal. Maybe do something, but something has to give. We can't just want it all and not give in anything, right? Again, it seems like we want the best players, fans want the best players, but we don't want to pay for it. It just makes no sense. Makes no sense. By the way, Terry Thomas telling us that we only got 8 likes. Come on, man. Hit the like button. Support the channel. Hit the like button and comment. I want to know your opinion on this matter. Craven says, and bring in your questions as well. Let's talk about it. We're all Toon fans. We got a good platform here to talk about all things Newcastle United. So bring in the comments. My screen here is very, very small, so I had to my stars a few of these. Let me see. Tommy K says, you have zero idea what Forest are cooking, my brother. Yeah, I don't work for Forest, so yeah, you're right. I have no idea. But my point is, we want Elanga. At least make it a little more appealing for Forest to accept the offer, because they don't want to sell him. They are actually entertaining the sale because Elanga wants to get out of there, right? If Elanga said, I don't want to go anywhere, then they would tell he's not for sale. He doesn't want to leave. Ciao, ciao. Now, Keith Downey here says, well, let me just read the whole tweet right here. I guess we can just share it if we can do that, so we can show the peeps what is being said out here officially by Mr. Keith Downey. There we go. We're gonna share it right there. Newcastle United have held a bid in the region. Have had a bid in the region of 45 million turned down by Forest for Anthony Elanga, as per David Ornstein. Newcastle tried with a similar move for the Sweden international on deadline day last summer, but were also turned down. This also says that Forest valued the player at £60 million and don't want to sell. And Newcastle have other targets not in the public domain that they may move on to if they feel they are being overquoted. And we're going to get to those possible targets as well, right? We're going to get to that stuff. The fact of the matter is, 60 million is probably a little. It's probably over the edge. But when you start talking about add-ons and doing all that stuff, then that might not be helpful. But so if you want to just get 45 million, just say 45 guarantee right now, cash in hand, take it or leave it. Look, they might say take it, but you don't know unless you try. But that means that you really want the player, so you're going to make an offer like that. Now, if you are not sure about the player, then obviously then don't offer any money. So I guess, but it's kind of obvious, isn't it? Mr. Tommy K says, "What is this lad waffling? I don't understand what you got against me, brother. I don't have anything against you. I respect your opinion. You got to respect mine. Put your opinion on the chat, and we'll bring it up." Giniesta says Forest won't let Elanga go for cheap when they see Semenyo's, Kudus, and Wilmo's price tags. Okay, well, maybe so. Maybe you're right. But if they want 60, if what they're reporting here is 60, then you could probably lowball that cash in hand, not 20 million add-ons that are in reality what it is the offer that we sent is basically 35 million guaranteed. Now, the 10 million can happen, might happen. There's a possibility it will happen, but that's not guaranteed to them. So they're not counting on it. They're just going to hope and pray that Eddie Howe plays them this amount of games or Elanga scores this amount of games for them to get their money. And I mean, not a lot of people are going to see a business in that. So let me see. That's a good comment though by Giniesta about the other prizes. Kudos what did he say? It's Semenyo. Semenyo would have been really a great target, but I don't know where he's going to go now. He was rumored to go to a big club, wasn't he? What club was he rumored to go to? Um, Tommy says my advice would be move on. Well, that's a good opinion. That's a fair opinion. But it's going to be a matter of making the right decision, because we either want him, and at this point in time, you got to go out there and try to get it done, or else you're going to have to move on to another target, because if you keep wasting time like you did with Mark Gehi, then we are really going to be in trouble. We're really going to be in trouble. Team Season here says, sorry, Chris, Rooney Bargi went to Barcelona for £2 million. How is Elanga worth 50? Who the heck is Rooney Bargi? First of all, who are we talking about? And is this in this century, in this decade? Because if it was in the past decade, brother, 2 million in football, it ain't gonna buy you nothing. Nothing. Let's be honest with each other. I don't know who you're speaking of, so if you can retype that, I would appreciate it. Michael NUFC, Burnley won 40 million for Trafford. We offer 30. Elanga 60. We offer 45. Pedro 60. We turn our nose up. It's getting annoying the way the club are pissing about now. Well, the cases differ, right? Because Trafford, I wouldn't spend, but that's why I don't understand, and I get infuriated quickly with this particular situation, because we don't have enough to pay for Elanga. We didn't even approach the Mbumo deal because he wants to get paid a lot of money. We don't have money, but we are wasting time in entertaining 30 million. Burnley wants 40, but we entertain 30 million for Trafford in a position that we don't need. Now you tell me how that makes sense. The only way, the only option that makes sense to me is that the club is just, just wants to be cheap, and they accept it or leave it. Most of them are saying we're going to leave it, and then Newcastle again, no signing. Or it could be that they're simply just waiting. Again, the other theory is that we're waiting for July, and that's going to be the time where we make all these signings, etc. We take advantage of the PSR problems that other teams have, and we just bid cheap and buy cheap players. Could be. That's a theory, I guess. But I don't know. When I'm in a desperate situation, when I need something desperately, I just stop pissing around and just go get it. That's what I do. And we need signings, right? Eddie Howe has said we need to get him in rather quickly, because players of good caliber don't wait around too long. We also got to take in consideration that some of these players are going to make the move. They got families, they got all of that stuff that they need to care about, they need to take care of. They want to get it done so they can get acclimated to their next club. So that's another thing, food for thought. Nothing crazy, food for thought. People don't think about that, but it does happen. So 40 million for Trafford, that is crazy, man. If we can't pay for Trafford, if we can't pay for Elanga, we're bothering about Trafford for 40 million, and we offer 30 million. That 30 million could go to another player that we need. It just makes no sense, for the hope and wonder that Trafford is going to become, I don't know, the best goalkeeper, the prospect goalkeeper in England for the next 10, 15 years. Okay, well, that might be, but you need to get what you actually need in the moment. Needs come before wants. You got to get what you need before you get what you want. And we don't need a goalkeeper at all. At all. Team Season see, that's your problem, Chris. You're so desperate to sign an average player, you need to calm down. PSR turns on July 1st. Calm the hell down. Well, very calm, actually. We're speaking of a bid that was turned down. right? So it was turned down. That's what we're speaking of. That's the breaking news. Elanga bid turned down for 45 million, a deal of 45 million. So again, as I mentioned, team season, your theory that the bus is going to come pulling up St. James's Park and 10 players are going to come down all at once, that might happen. It turns July 1st and we get all the deals done. That might happen. And if it does, I'll be happy. Well, it depends on what players we get. But we got to speak on what's happening, what's actually happening, right? You know, we can have this thesis on what we think the club is going to do. But when we actually stick to the facts of right now, the fact of the matter is we have not made a single signing. I think this must be our second bid the whole month. The whole month. Right? Elanga, and then you got Trafford for 30 million that both turned down. So there we go. You got Barnes, so you're all good then. We got Barnes, and Barnes is a quality player. Quality player. Ed McCunion Therapy, says Newcastle are ready to make Isak the highest paid player to combat interest this summer. Newcastle are concerned an offer could be made early next month for Isak, according to Martin Hardy, I guess. Or your name is Martin Hardy. I'm not sure. Well, that's another concern, right? Because, I mean, apparently we should be working on Isak's contract. And if we are, and that's taking up our time, unfortunately, you know, we can't work on two things at once, it seems like, if that's the case. But I agree. I think Isak is very important. To get the Isak deal done, that is massive. That is, if we can get that done, that is massive. But it doesn't change the fact that, you know, we need other players to come in and help the team. Choppy says Elanga can sign on July 1st with pre-contract. Okay, you're right. You're right, but there ain't no pre-contract. A bid was turned down today. So you know, I get that, you know, we want to be throwing a party, and a lot of you are like Mighty Win, who just wants to celebrate that the sky's blue. I get that. I'm all for it. Let's just throw a parade, but we can't talk about. We got to talk about what's happening. And Keith Downey reporting, as well as other reporters, saying that a bid was turned down today. We got to talk about that. We can't. What do you want me to say? I can't lie. I can't say, yeah, bid was rejected, but you know, I can't lie. It's what's there. If it was the other way around, I'd have been joyous and say that we signed Elanga. Breaking news. But we can't lie. Stephen Harkett, Barnes won't go. Howell wants two players on each position. He won't weaken the left to strengthen the right. Clickbait BS. Who's the clickbait BS? I'm not sure. Let me go more comments here. Come on, bring in your comments. Let Elanga stay at Forest. He's just a speed merchant who had one good season. Well, one can say that about Gordon, couldn't we? Are we going to say that about Gordon? Gordon had one great season, and after that, he's known for getting himself sent off before a cup final. So, yeah, we always like to talk about the other player because he's not in our team. But we got a few of those in our team as well. So, come on, you know, it's interesting. Man, we got a lot of comments, and I'm behind on the comments here. Steve, Newcastle to offer Isak 150 plus. He won't sign that when he knows he can get 300 elsewhere. Well, that is, yeah. I mean, I don't think we can pay 300K, though, to anybody. But I think 250 max, you're going to have to have a player like that. You know, you're going to have a player that's the highest paid player. And I think Isak has earned it. So how many players? Tommy K. Let me read Tommy K. Because I think what he's saying, that he thinks that I don't know what Forrest wants to do, because he's saying that I think Elanga wants out. Well, clearly Elanga has told Forrest to entertain this, because if he didn't, there would be nothing to entertain. There would be nothing to talk about. It would be told Elanga doesn't want to go anywhere. He's staying here. So no negotiations, Newcastle. But the fact that they're negotiating, that means that the player wants to leave, because Forrest clearly don't want to sell him. So it's kind of a smart assumption, I would say, on my behalf, Mr. Tommy K. Ed McCunha Way says, how many players do you need to compete on all fronts and make top four? Well, I've always said that we need four players at least, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But we need a right wing, you need a proper right wing. I think you need a backup striker that's a good established striker that's not a young kid. You need somebody like that. So that's 2 players there. You need a center back. You need a top center back, and that would have been Mark Gahey. Mark Gahey is my top priority, but it seems like we're not really doing much there. And then we need another midfielder. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. We need another midfielder because we need proper midfielders to be there. And Longstaff is not going to be taken in consideration. Willock is already on his way out. So at least 4 players, in my opinion. And that's going to, in my opinion, get us to the next level. But I don't know. I don't know if that's been taken into consideration. Thank you, Michael McIntyre. I got your super chat here, mate, or your super sticker. Appreciate that. There it is right there. Hippo, he sent a super sticker, so appreciate that, buddy. Thank you very much. And let me see. More comments here. More comments. Bifa Inc. says, go to Akiyochi. In my opinion, probably will get him for 50 million. 50 million for Akiyoche. Well, that could be a good talented player. I don't think he's done more than, I think he's about as good as Elanga probably, but if we don't want to pay more than 45 with add-ons or without add-ons, 35 and 10 in add-ons for Elanga, imagine Akiyoche. Mighty Win here says Elanga contract until 24, only 25. What's KPW, by the way? What's KPW? I don't understand what that is. And maybe some metric from the UK that I don't understand. But yeah, he has a contract. Mercury Diamond, unfortunately, every club will add the Newcastle tax whenever we want a player. But, what I say to that is, though, man, I mean, it is what it is, isn't it? I mean, are we going to hope that the Saudi tax gets eradicated at some point? That clubs start feeling bad for us and say, poor Newcastle, let's take away the Saudi tax. Are we going to hope for that? I don't know. I think we just, 25K per week. Okay. Are we going to hope for the Saudi tax to be eliminated by by those good clubs? And no, at some point you're just going to say it is what it is, brother. You just go out there and pay for it. But I guess we don't have the money for it. I don't know. Let me see. My advice, we move on, says Tommy K. Let me get, because I'm behind on the comments here, man. You guys are commenting like crazy, which is good. If we win with Semenyo, says win all the Eddie only buys from Bournemouth, Tarsus will be. You keep saying the same thing, man. Yeah, it is what it is. That's anybody when people don't have a brain, they would probably say that. But I'm not worried about them. Semenyo is a proper player, so if we wanted to go get him, we would go get him. But quite honestly, I wouldn't get my hopes up at this point. But I don't know. Maybe I've just been burned too many times. 3 windows in 24 days without a signing. 3 windows in 24 days. Add the days up. Can anybody add the days up between, what was it, 2 summers and 1 winter window? Or was it 2 winters? Yeah, 2 winters and 1 summer window, right? It's 2 winters and 1 summer window. So how many days would that be? That would be interesting to know. Let me see. 40 million for Trafford is a joke. It's a joke for Trafford, yeah. Yeah, I agree. That should never be entertained. Craven says Cherky went for 30 million and Forest won 60 for Elanga. Well, I guess you can't really judge people on what they want for their stock. I mean, now you have the right not to pay for it, but I can put my phone here for sale for £1 million. Nobody's gonna buy it, but it's my right to put whatever price I want for it. Come on now, capitalism, man. It's come on now. Red Dog, it's not just about what you think he is worth, it's what we're prepared to sell. It's what we are prepared to sell him for due to 20% sell on the cost to us to replace him. 3 years left on this contract. So I'm guessing you're a Forest fan. Yeah, well, I mean, listen again. As I was saying, all of that is your prerogative. You can have all your excuses you want, and that's what you don't have to tell me your excuses. I don't care to know why Forest wants 60 million for him. That's their prerogative. It doesn't matter to Newcastle. Newcastle decides to say, well, that's too much money for me, or it's not a lot of money. Let me pay for it. Newcastle is the one that decides that. Now you can put whatever price you want. I don't have an issue with that. Mancunian Way, shout out to him, man. Appreciate you, brother. We're gonna get that show sorted with Mighty Win. He's the PSR twat expert on that, and we'll get him on whenever he's ready. But no worries, man. We're gonna get that show. We gotta talk about PSR and also Liveramento's interest in Man City's interest in Livermento. We're gonna talk about that with Mancunian Way, Man City fan channel. So appreciate that, mate. Steven says, I will tell you, Chris, it's on the books for this year, PSR before the 30th. That's fine. But that don't mean you can't negotiate a player. Or, that doesn't mean that. Oh, look at the twat, man. I cannot believe this fool. Turn the volume down, man, on the TV.
I've been watching on my phone and listening to all the gobshite.
Oh, the truth, man.
Oh,
the truth.
But is our strategy working?
Is it working? Well, we don't have a strategy.
First trophy in 70 years.
What are you talking about?
2 Champions League qualifications in the 3 years of the strategy that you're talking about.
Again, delusion.
All of the great players that we've bought.
Here we go.
It's been under the Eddie Howe school of recruitment.
Here's the thing, though.
Recruitment.
We will talk about space, or we will talk about politics. We will talk about religion, and Mighty Win will say, we won a trophy, we Champions League. It makes no difference to the conversation. We're talking about the strategy of buying players, which has failed for 3 windows in 24 days. Plain and simple.
No. The strategy hasn't failed. We just didn't have any money.
But then again, you keep just contradicting yourself. You say we had money, but then you say we didn't. So I don't understand. Again, we keep going down the same rabbit hole. I never understand what your opinion is, because you say that PIF didn't want to back them, and also you say that we didn't have money.
That's correct as well.
So you can't have both. What is it then?
Why can you not have both?
Because the truth is one. Either we have money or we don't have money.
The truth is both.
No, you cannot say that PIF has money and don't want to spend it, and that we don't have money.
The transfer windows we had no money. The second window we did have money, which was proven by the fact that we put bids in for Guy and Elanga. We didn't put high enough bids in, but we had money then.
Yeah, but the strategy failed when we could have sold Trippier to Bayern Munich. We could have sold Callum Wilson to Atletico Madrid.
We wouldn't have had Trippier to put in a man of the match performance at Wembley.
But you're assuming that we were going to lose the final without Trippier. I wouldn't put my money on that.
Well,
one thing that you can't
put in one hell of a performance.
That's fine. I agree with that. But you can't deny that Callum Wilson has been useless for Newcastle, and we could have sold him. We could have sold him to Atletico Madrid.
Who would we have bought with the 12 million that we would have got for Trippier?
I don't know.
Who would we have bought? Who could have done the job that he did at Wembley?
Apparently, we were so broke that 12 million maybe could have made a difference. I don't know. Apparently, we never had any money.
Well, I think we were better off saving the 12 million and keeping trips.
So again, that's an action. That's a strategy. As far as signing players,
that's a strategy which is proven to have worked.
Yeah, you can say there's worked on the football pitch. Limited. I mean, it's limited. It's limited though. It's limited because by the manager he says that we need players. So it's not like we can say, yeah, we'll just keep the same squad.
Absolutely need
so
players.
We need players. So as far as signing players, that strategy hasn't worked. We can't even sell them.
Panic, man.
I'm not panicking on anything. I'm speaking normal. I'm not panicking on anything. But what the thing is that you have an issue, you have a problem with being objective and being critical, or using
I have a problem.
or using the couple brain cells you got left.
I have a problem with you, for example, persistently saying we haven't just gone 10 days without a signing or 15 days without a signing. We've gone 100 days without a signing.
But is that a lie? Is that a lie? Okay, then. So it's not a lie. Perfect. Now we agree that the American Mag didn't lie. We have gone without a signing, with the exception.
The mighty Mag, totally.
The American Mag, the American Mag. You're drunk. You're so drunk you can't even put the words together.
I wish I was drunk. The American Mag constantly ignores the fact that because of FFP and PSR, we're fucking broke, so we couldn't spend anything in the previous 2
Okay,
windows.
so what happened last window?
The last window,
okay, so what happened?
PIF didn't back Eddie.
Okay, so the strategy didn't work. Plain and simple. We all come to the same conclusion. You want to sugarcoat it because you feel like you need to defend Eddie Howe, and that's fine. He might have something on you that you don't want out to be in the public. I understand that. But the fact of the matter doesn't change that the strategy didn't work because we haven't signed a damn player in 3 windows in 24 days. It's plain and simple. It's not a lie. It's the truth, man. It's the truth.
We haven't signed a damn player in 15 days of the phony window.
And the thing is, we're talking about a single player that can help the squad. I'm not talking about an elite, worldwide renowned player. I'm talking about a single player that can strengthen the squad. We have not signed that one person, and we are not open-minded, as I was saying earlier with Ian Fleming's comment. We're not open-minded. We just want a certain type.
We're not. You've got no proof to back that up. Whatever. You have no idea who we're looking at.
Just by the fact that there's not a single link to anybody that could be a potential loan. That's a player that's not wanted by their current club.
Was there a single link to Botman's the one exception. Was there a single link to Bruno?
But you're not understanding the point. Those are players. Those are signings when we had money. So here's the thing, Wayne. Let me teach you something about life. When you have money,
that will be the deal.
When you have money, you can spend whatever you want, right? You can do whatever you want. When you don't have money, you're gonna have to adjust, and you have to get your needs before your wants. And so now that Newcastle needs players, needs to strengthen the squad, you have to be open-minded to say, well, let me get this loan here, try him out for a season. Let me get this young lad that's playing good in this league in Italy. Let me get this. But no, it's all about a certain type.
While we're trying him out, we're dropping points.
We try out all the time. That's all we do. Other than Tonali and Isak, there's no established players in Newcastle United.
Well,
Bruno is now is that. Gordon was nobody knew what Gordon was going to do. Matter of fact, fans didn't want Gordon because of his petulant attitude, and continues to have actually.
Some fans did,
and continues to have actually. So we've come on now. We always gamble. Osula, for example, is another gamble. So, we stay gambling. Botman is a gamble. All these guys are gambles.
Osula was a £10 million gamble for a young kid who Eddie can develop. We're in the chrysalis stage of our development, where it's no good wanting to be a pupa again. We want to be a butterfly. And if you want to be a butterfly, you've got to improve what you've got. Not hope you've got a chance of improving. You've got to spend the money that we now have to ensure that we're only buying players who are guaranteed to improve what we've got.
Yeah, but I mean,
there's a buying project.
So if that's the case, then shut the hell up and pay the money or walk away. But you can't have it both because Newcastle United wants everything. Newcastle United wants everything. They have everything. They want the prettiest girls. They want the best cars, and all for cheap. And it ain't going to happen. It is not.
Well, what Newcastle United do, which I think is a perfectly reasonable strategy,
What is the strategy?
is decide on how much they think a player is worth, and they offer that money.
Okay, and if that
And if it doesn't do the job,
and
they
so
move on.
if we sign nobody, then
They
that's okay
move
with
on.
you. So if we sign nobody, that's okay with you.
No, it's not all right with me.
No, but you are saying the strategy for you is perfect. Is it works? You are saying that the strategy is we lowball teams, and if take it or leave it. If they don't want to take it, they don't. Perfect. So now,
Who
if
says
that
lowball?
we are lowballing 35 million and then 10 million add-ons for Elanga.
Well,
It's
where have you
lowballing.
got that from? Because somebody put it in the chat. I've never
Well-
seen that anywhere. Every single decent report I've seen says we're offered 45 million.
Right, 45 million. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So if that's what we think he's worth, that's what we've offered.
Okay, so it didn't work.
And then maybe
it was
sweeten
rejected.
that with some add-ons after the 45, not before the 45. But
So, okay.
if we qualify for the Champions
Well,
League, you'll get 55.
Connor,
If-
bring up the source when you post something. Bring up the source so we can attribute that and find it real quick. But say it's 45 million and they rejected it. So what you gonna do now?
Move on.
Okay, you move on. Perfect. So if you go for Semenyo and you say 45 for Semenyo, they want 60 and they don't accept it. What do you do?
I would offer more for Semenyo.
No, but you are saying that the strategy is correct and Newcastle are doing it. So they are offering lowballing teams. That's what we're doing, really. Trafford, they want 40 for them. They offer 30. So that's lowballing according to what Burnley wants. So they didn't accept that. So if we just keep doing that, we sign nobody. But the strategy worked. Win. So don't be sad. Don't be sad because the strategy, we stick to our guns. Right?
Never judge a painting
No,
when it's half
but-
finished.
But also don't imagine what the painting is going to be. Judge what the process is
I like
up to
to
today. Judge the process up to now. Judge it what is up to today. What's the breaking news today is that we got another bid rejected. And by the way, that's only our second bid the whole transfer window. So what's going on?
As you're aware.
When I quite honestly doubt that any bid is not being propagated by somebody. It's not being advertised by somebody because they want, for example, Forest, they want other teams. They want more money. So why wouldn't they just say, "Hey, Newcastle bid for Elanga, so anybody else got want to pay him more? You can have him." So you don't think that happens in football?
Martin, the Mancunian was saying that they have been quoted 85 million for Gibbs White. Do you think they're going to get 85 million for Gibbs White?
Somebody might pay for it. I don't know. Gibbs White.
Well, I don't know who'll pay that.
So
60. It's all very well what they want.
Yeah, but you can't judge a team on what they want.
And then if they are
but
happy,
then the problem is
happy not to get any money.
When?
And run with what they've got and hope.
Yeah, but of course they will.
Hope that they can replicate last season. Good luck with that strategy.
Yeah, but that's a better strategy than getting rid of their players. That makes no sense. Of course, Forest will because they know.
If I'm a Forest fan, I'm saying exactly that. And if I'm a Forest fan, I'm saying, damn right. If you want one of our best players, you're going to pay over the top for him. So then it's up to the owner to say, "Whoa, wait a minute."
But see,
a lot of money. This
it's not Forest. It's their right to sell whatever they want at whatever price. It's not. They're not bad people. They're not evil people.
I'm not saying that they are.
So, but the thing is, you said the strategy is because what you're hoping for is you're going to lowball.
Do I think Isak's worth 150 million? No, I don't.
Every bit of it. Every bit of it.
Well, I don't think he's worth. I don't think he's worth.
Well, you can't name one or two better strikers in the world than him. So if that's the case, then he's worth that or more. So what are we talking about, man? And you got quiet. You can't say.
My point is, do I think he's worth 150 million? No, I don't. However, if anybody wants to buy him, damn right he's worth 150 million. And
no, but. Listen, man, we're not getting anywhere.
If somebody came to me tomorrow with £150 million bid for Isak, I would bite their hands off.
Thank you, Choppy. I'm on Chris' side. He talks sense. Well, hey, listen, you're not the first one to say that, brother. But I appreciate that anyway.
Oh, this is the same Choppy who,
What-
when I was on the site, was saying, "Where's the win? Get the win on."
one thing about, but one of the main reasons why I keep winning on the channel is because he makes me look good, and that can never be under. That's got to be appreciated. He always makes me look good every time he opens his mouth. So, but my problem is with that lowballing teams. When you are desperate for something, you're just gonna have to buy him, man. You're just gonna have to buy him. You know, if you really want Elanga,
We're not desperate.
yeah, we are actually. We're very desperate.
No, you are.
You don't think we're desperate for signings?
No. Not desperate.
So if we, again, my question to you is, if we don't accomplish a signing this season, this window, you're fine with that. Just a minute ago, you told me that you wouldn't be happy with that.
If we don't sign more than
You said you wouldn't be happy with that.
a minimum of 3 quality players in this window, I'll be far from happy. I'll be very, very unhappy. But does that make us desperate? Certainly not.
Of course, you trying to get a. You have not signed a player. You are running on fumes. You're adding Champions League. I know that you don't believe. I know that you in your small town mentality, you don't think Champions League is anything.
No, that's the whole point.
But Champions League is the most important tournament you could ever be in football.
This is not small time.
No, that's you. That's you.
Mentality.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
You need players. You need
Big
quality. You need
club mentality saying we don't just want to buy anybody just because we can.
Well, clearly, Elanga's
we only want to buy players who we think are actually going to improve what we've got. And if we've got to wait a little bit of time for that, that's great.
Okay, Captain Obvious. Yeah, that's what we want to go get signings for, to make a team better. So, obviously, the team, Eddie Howe, your Lord and Savior, says that he wants Elanga. So why can't you get on the same boat and say that he wants Elanga, he wants Margay, nobody else, that's their targets. Why couldn't you say pay for it? Pay for it.
What I do. I say exactly that because
what are you talking? You just contradicting yourself, man.
No, I didn't. What I'm saying is,
oh my God,
if we value Elanga at 45 million. And they want 60 million. To me, I would just pay the 60. I would just say, get the deal done, get it over the line. The 15 million that we've overplayed will hopefully be more than compensated for by the improvement that he brings to the team, the results that we get, and the success and consequent revenue that we get from that success.
All right, it looks like we got some.
So just pay it.
So it looks like we got some breaking news. I want to know. Breaking news from Rudy Galletti. We're talking about Bruno here because some people are saying something about Isak, but there is breaking news for Bruno Gimar. Is an exclusive Rudy Galletti, who is, let me verify the account to not be like you, over 100,000 sports journalist for Team Talk, Tribal Football, TV de la Sport, and Sky Sport. Says that let's go with Bruno's rumor first, and that Bruno has rejected an Al Hilal's offer to go there. The Saudi club sent an official proposal to the midfielder, but he wants to stay in Europe and Newcastle. So that is breaking news on the good sense of the word. It looks like Bruno is declining to go to Al Hilal. Well, that is good. Now, you guys are mentioning, I got a couple super chats here. It says, new Isak rumor just dropped. Thank you, Thunderbolt, for the kind super chat. And then we got another one that's from Thunderbolt. Indy is saying Isak is refusing a contract till he sees Liverpool's offer. And Liverpool will test the waters for Isak with a record transfer fee, post-sales, plus Jota. What I want to know the source before we entertain that.
Well, I assume he's referring to the Independent, which is a...
Oh, the Independent. Okay, we don't need signings. Mackenzie family says we don't need signings. Please put Wayne in jail. Well, you know that's what I'm saying, man.
Who said
this
we
guy
don't
is
need signings?
you just said we are not desperate for signings. If we're
no. There were one signings, yes.
yeah, we're desperate for signings.
Desperate just to go and sign anybody.
No, but that's
desperate.
not the. Nobody said that.
Nobody's desperate.
But you are arguing something that nobody's brought up to the table.
You're saying we're desperate for.
We are desperate for signings.
Somebody in now.
We are desperate for signings. Meaning, if we want Elanga and think that he is, I've debated people that think that Elanga is worthless. I've actually said, look, he's a decent, really good player, and if Eddie Howe wants him, then let him have it. Desperate for signing means you really want Elanga. He's good. Pay the 60 million for him, or 55, or 50 cash. Here you go. Take it, and see if Forest takes it or not. But stop doing this add-on. If Mighty Win scores 20 times,
you've got no.
No, I don't. But we always do. Okay.
45 million.
But we always do add-ons. Is that something? Is that something that doesn't happen? Add-ons in football. It happens all the time. Okay, then. So it's not something that doesn't happen, right? I'm looking at the post right now, actually, from the time. Ooh, the Times. I might have to. The Times here says exclusive. Newcastle United ready to break club wage record to keep Alexander Isak. But that is to keep him. So where's the offer that Liverpool that you guys are bringing up from Liverpool? I don't see that. So
there'll be some keyboard warrior stuck it up and then it'll be retweeted and re-bloody X'd or whatever it is.
Yeah, so we are ready to break the club record. I mean, what would it be just to re-sign Isak? I'm not sure. But if it is a lot of money, well, that'll be good.
He's not going to re-sign for anything less than 250.
Well, I agree with you on that. That has to be done. But
he's
so
contracted until 2028. So.
Yeah, okay. But then somebody wants and pays a lot of money for him, and then he goes, and then you are truly knackered. And you there's no replacement for Alexander Isak. Not a single one in the world. There's not one. Unless you want to go and get Mbappe or Haaland. But we can't even pay. We can't even pay. That's because your personal agenda against Isak. So you want this old school classic center forward when Isak is doing just as good, if not better, scoring more goals than Kane. So, but with that being said,
I think you'll find you're wrong again, but never mind.
What am I wrong about? That you like
Isaac scoring more goals than Kane.
Well, you mentioned that the Kane plays in a substandard league and the Isak plays in the Premier League. So there you go.
No, Kane plays in the Bundesliga. That's not a substandard league.
Excuse me. What's the you say the La Liga is substandard, but you're gonna say the Bundesliga is superior. I don't understand that.
Bundesliga is superior to La Liga every day of the week.
You are truly.
We are knackered.
Knackered.
I'm talking about in depth.
I mean, I just can't entertain it. Anyway, that's fine. Listen, I try to protect him, but he doesn't help his cause, man. I'm telling you, he doesn't help it. Somebody says that open letter to LFC. We are asking you to release Mohamed Salah so he can be happy, fulfill his dreams to play for Newcastle. Somebody put that on there, but I don't find anything on Isak leaving, so I'm not sure what people are saying in the chat. Hey, you can have an emoji? Look at this. It's a fish. I didn't know you can have an emoji on the chat. Do you see that fish?
Yeah, I don't know. It's
a fish. It's a fish, fool. Wow, I didn't know that. Okay. Well, we are getting close to quitting time, as we say in America. Newcastle are still growing up in the big time. In the big time here, says Jay. Newcastle are still growing in the big time.
Yeah, okay. But when you're growing up, that's what you've got to do. You've got to grow up.
And by the way, the fact that I don't know. I'm trying. What are we saying here? That going for signing Elanga is like this enormous step into elite football. Like, I could understand if we're.
Who's saying that? Certainly not me. I don't particularly.
I can understand that if we are lowballing.
What you think, doesn't amount to a row of beans. It's what the people at the club think.
What? I don't understand that. I mean, okay.
I don't rate Elanga either. I would have Semenyo every day of the week over Elanga. I would have paid 80 million for Bruno.
Yeah. But so that's the opinion.
I
Then.
would go. I would go and I would offer West Ham 100 million for Bowen.
Okay, so
See what happens
exactly.
then.
That's your opinion. Stick to your convictions and stop, uh, you know, playing the gray area
Yeah,
and
no,
get.
but I don't want to just out of panic, sheer panic.
There's no panic. Nobody said if you're arguing. No,
panicking, man.
you're arguing with somebody that has said nothing to what you're responding to. I never said sign anybody.
How many days since we've signed anybody?
That is just a fact. I mean, I don't understand what you want me to do about it. It's a fact. I can't change it. It's happened. It's a fact. You can't change facts. Now,
And we've got the whole of the proper
I have
window
never.
to go.
Okay, well that's also a fact, but
When
that doesn't change. That
an
doesn't change
actual
the other fact.
When the most deals get done, every single transfer window
haven't
that's
studied
ever
that.
happened
Okay, well, so
in
again,
the last 3 days.
right? That's fine.
This is when the selling clubs,
right.
like Forest,
Yeah.
who've put a 60 million on Elanga, and they've got our 45 million bid on the table. When it gets to 3 days to go, they say, "Me, we better cash this chip in."
Yeah, no, that's fine. But
And in the meanwhile, if we've signed some tuppence halfpenny right winger from the Dutch league, we've blown our coppers.
yeah, but I've never said that. So you gotta argue. You gotta have a show with somebody else about that. What I'm saying is, if you really want Ilanga, then you gotta pay for him. Stop lowballing and stop funning around. That's what I'm getting at. Because we are desperate for signings. We need to sign somebody before the window's over. Yes, we are. We need to sign We need to sign players before the window's.
You are desperate because you're impatient. You're a little kid before Christmas. I want to open
No. Again, you're not understanding it, but you just don't want to understand. That's fine because you got your agenda and your propaganda. That's okay. But the simple fact is that we haven't signed anybody in 3 windows in 24 days. Is it still 24? Yeah, 24 days. 25 days now in the UK, or no, close to it. So that's a fact. And again, you can live on hope and dreams that we're going to sign, that everybody's going to come July 1st, everybody coming down the bus, all the signings. Perfect. But the fact is that we are still struggling to make bids, man. We still worrying about. It's okay. We don't have money for Elanga,
So you
right?
say.
Yeah, well, so is everybody that's got sources within the club. So, but you said we don't have money for Elanga. We can't. We cannot pay more than what we got, right? So we don't have money for Elanga. So why are we offering 30 million for Trafford when we don't need anybody in that position? How does that make sense?
Well, again, I'm not a particular Trafford fan.
No, don't forget about Trafford. The deal of a goalkeeper.
I think we do need a goalkeeper.
You feel like we need a goalkeeper over any other position?
Not over any other position. No.
Yeah, but so you got to go get you. Don't you agree that the strategy should be prioritize the positions that you need to fill in before filling in other positions that you don't need?
Not at all. I think they should all be done simultaneously.
Well, clearly we can't do that.
And I'm sure they are all being done simultaneously.
Okay, that's fine. Hope and dreams. Listen,
let's judge.
I'm a religious person too. Well, you're not, but I'm a religious person, so I do.
Let's judge the window.
Listen,
when the window closes.
Look,
on the 31st.
There is nothing wrong with having faith, living, and hoping and dreaming. But when you come and do a critical show, you gotta have some. You gotta speak about the facts. And but listen, I'll pray about it. I'll pray about it tonight.
Don't get me started on religion. This is the wrong platform. But
no, I know. Well, I know because you
relying on facts instead of just open faith.
You got to rely on facts.
Back to the loss are there.
Listen, we believe in that Julius Caesar existed. We won't believe that Jesus existed. Come on, when Julius Caesar died before Jesus, it's crazy. But we won't go down that rabbit hole because you're going to be wrong again. So, but I will pray for it, and you were going to hope and dream that we get signed. So we got that. We got that in agreement. We're going to do that, right?
We will make 3 quality first team signings before the window closes. Just calm down.
Cheers, Jay. And yeah, listen, I know that they might be working on it, but it's not illegal to use your brain and think yet. They might be working on it. Trust me, but it's not illegal to think. Don't be like Win and actually think. Don't just say to any argument, we won the Carabao Cup. but actually, use your brain cells that you got
Yeah.
and say what's the
After
facts.
60-odd years watching them, it's fabulous thing to say, trust me.
Joe Harvey rolling over in
And
his grave,
that'll,
man.
that'll take a long time to get
Jackie
over.
Milburn rolling over in his grave, man. Everybody rolling over in their grave, celebrating the Carabao Cup to justify, I don't know, the sky's blue. So we won the Carabao Cup, no worries. Fucking hell, man.
And qualified for the Champions League 2 years out of 3.
Yeah.
Without
Yeah,
any
all of that-
signings, without
listen,
any money.
Exactly. But just now
What a job that Eddie Howe's doing.
100%. I agree with that. But now you just have made the statement as well that without any signing, that means it was nothing short of a miracle. And we
Correct.
need desperately to sign because we don't want to be in a position like that again.
Anyway,
We agree. We ended up agreeing at the end. And
we need to sign and we will sign. We're just not desperate to sign just anybody.
Okay. He's worried about the vocabulary. He's worried about the words, the synonyms.
I am a big wordsmith.
But he's worried about that. But at the end of the day, he means to agree with me that we do desperately need signings. But he doesn't want to use that word. He'll use another synonym, but it's basically the same thing. So, anyways, folks, it's been a great show. Mark Douglas says Newcastle to make quick call on second. Ooh, wait a minute. 3 hours ago, Mark Douglas says that Newcastle to make quick call on second bid for Elanga. Don't want to get dragged into sagas. Well, that's what it says down there. So maybe that's what he's describing what Newcastle want and don't want. Alternatives, they're ready to move on if they need to. Quoted 70 million for Semenyo, 70 million, and steadfast on player valuations, 70.
Piet?
Well, I say the same. So again,
Definitely.
we do agree. You just don't want to admit to
And
it.
then you'd get all that bloody hell. He only wants Premier League players, especially those from Bournemouth.
Well,
coming up
but
the
if
woodwork.
you are speaking with somebody that has no brain, then I understand that. But anybody that has a half a brain understands that Semenyo is a really good player.
Anybody that has half a brain knows that our strategy is working.
It has. I agree with you. The buying strategy has definitely worked on not signing any player because we've done that very consistently and very good. We're good at it. 3 windows and 24 days.
Our
Thanks.
strategy on buying players like Bruno, like Botman, like
Again,
Denali, like
you live
Isak,
in the past.
like
You like living in
Hall,
the past.
like Livramento is working.
Listen, who was it? And the Niall Powell says strategy not buying us, not buying us well good. So listen, it is what it is. Can't fault up to. Is it what Terry says? Can't fault up to now.
Faulted up to now. Quite right, Terry Thomas.
All right. Appreciate everybody. Listen, it's been a great show. Good debate. It turned out good. Tomorrow we'll be back 2 p.m. With Gary. He'll be discussing what was it? The protest. People protesting about the stadium and all of that. 28,000 signatures, and also talking about current news. So join him at 2:30 p.m. and we will see you all on the next one, folks. Be back on Thursday night, Friday morning, Friday afternoon again. So thank you for your support. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. I will see you all on the next one. Bye-bye.
How are the lads?